Hello, this is Wmpyr. This is something I uploaded on Twitter recently, and I just wanted to talk about it and make some things clear about this post. Okay. So first of all, the one on the left, I mean, you guys can read. It says knife drills tapi tapi, which is the name of the partner drill, with half body pendulum, and then the VSCK Batangas Philippines chapter. I believe that is their group, right? And anyway, I've been very impressed by their YouTube channel, and I really like their material very much. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of these guys. Okay, so but let me say, yes, I am a Filipino martial arts instructor, but I am not affiliated with them. I've never talked to them or anything. I just really like what they see, like what I see from them. And on YouTube, honestly, it's one of my favorites, period. I know a lot of people tend to go with the big channels, and I've lost a lot of faith in the big channels. I don't like what I see. And yeah, so to me, on YouTube, a lot of times, whether it's movie reviews, video game reviews, or martial arts stuff, I find that it's the smaller channels where the good stuff is at, and this is a perfect prime example of that. To me, what they're doing this is like diamonds. This is amazing stuff. So the stuff in the right over here, it says our Rock Navy SEAL. So Rock is Republic of Korea. So it looks legit military. It really looks like it. And what are they training on? Like on a ship, right? Like on a one of those huge naval vessel ships. The way they're dressed and the location, it looks real to me. I don't think it's some people faking military. It looks real. I don't know if they're really Navy SEALs. They do look like, to me, from just someone who's not familiar with this kind of stuff, they do look like some kind of special forces. I would believe it. But the first thing I gotta say is, boy, do they look awesome. They look awesome. They look so freaking cool. I've always been a big fan of military stuff. I just always had lifelong fascination ever since I saw First Blood. Yeah, I just been a big fan, and then of course I saw Rambo 2 and Commando and all that. So yeah, being an '80s kid, it's just always like, you know, uh, been fascinated with that stuff. Uh, anyway, so the main thing is, if you look at the military guys over here, what they're doing looks way more impressive. The way they're dressed, the way it looks, the location where it's shot, the way it's edited, and what they're doing. And it's the one thing you're going to notice is it's super fast. It's very speedy what they're doing. So it looks extremely impressive, and I believe they probably had way more views than the people on the left. The people on the left look to me like legit Filipinos training over there in the Philippines. So I think they're extremely authentic. Is just my personal opinion. And yeah, so you got extremely authentic versus extremely impressive looking. Not to say that the military guys are not authentic. They look authentic to me. But what do I know? I don't know anything about military really. So so watching this right here, I'm saying that for the general public, the right, what you're seeing on the right, the military guys, probably more impressive. Okay, but what I'm here to say is, please, we've become a society where we get impressed by certain things and we look for certain things, and those things aren't always the most accurate measure of quality. Okay, so I'm here to say that what I'm seeing over here in the right, what they're doing, and I'm not here to put them down or anything. It's a very impressive. Okay, what they're doing basically, what I call a blender. They're doing blender training. Okay, a blender is rapid fire, nonstop assault moves, techniques right there. And that's what they're doing. They're creating a blender, right? A blender, and I've said this on my on channel many times, is a blender is definitely what you want to develop in the Filipino martial arts. You want to get to the point where you can do a blender, but there's an offensive usage and a defensive usage. And what I'm seeing here, I would say what they're developing is primarily for an offensive usage, okay? However, notice their free hand is like parrying hands and blocking the other hand and stuff. So I'm just going like, so then it's doing both. This blender is offense and defense, which to me doesn't make any sense. Because at this speed and at this distance, it's humanly basically impossible to be able to defend and counter here. Okay, so for me, it doesn't make sense. You can't keep up with that. All right, there's a reason why kickboxers and MMA fighters, they block and they cover up. And obviously you can't do that with a knife. So because you can't do that with a knife, that's why they're parrying. But I'm telling you, that doesn't make sense because it's not possible. If it were, every boxer, kickboxer, MMA fighter would be doing this kind of thing. And you would see this. And we would see them trap fighting and going left and right, But that's not what happens when you watch MMA. They fight from a distance, and when they get close, one has to cover up. And if something gets through, then the other person gets hurt. That's just the way it works. This is not what happens, right? So then I go, what are they training then? Well, it should be the blender. And if I was teaching them, I would just teach them an offensive blender. I would not teach them any defense here. What for? And then you might go, well, it's not defense. What they're doing is they're moving the hand out of the way. So if there's a hand in the way, they're moving it out of the way. That also doesn't make sense because if something is in the way, it's so much faster for you to go around it than you trying to move it out of the way, especially at this distance. Okay, so maybe you can push the arm out and maybe it'll move, maybe not, and then immediately you get your strike in, and then from there you just keep going, right? You're not going to keep doing this. You're not going to stay in this range and keep doing. No. So from a lot of perspectives, it doesn't really make sense to me. I feel they're working on the blender, and if that's what they're doing, I would just teach them an offensive blender like the Heaven 6. Nothing beats the Heaven 6, in my opinion, as far as ergonomics. The movement of the Heaven 6 is an infinity sign. It's infinite. It is a natural motion, and you cannot beat that. So the only way you could beat that is with another natural, like a circle. But the Heaven 6 has two circles, right? It's two circles sideways. That's how you get the 8, right? So in that sense, unless because a circle is competing with another circle, you could go reverse direction, whatever. If you have two circles, there's different benefit. It's a different thing. It's a different animal. But both of those are natural movements, so you can't beat that, And so that's what I would teach personally. Now, on the left, what are they doing? On the left, to me, I'm seeing offense and defense, okay? So they are defending and they are countering. So what skill are they developing here? Well, they are working on defense and countering. That's what they're working on. And yes, no one is going to stay in this range. So this is a drill for sure. It's in that sense, it's not realistic, right? But I've seen videos of them where it's more like sparring, where it's more chaos involved. Okay, they're not going full force at each other, but it's a lot more free. It's a lot quicker. There's fakes, there's stuff like that. It's not a beat in a rhythm where they're just constantly going back and forth like you're seeing here. And when I see that video, I can see that what they're doing here is the base. This is the core of their technique, of their skill. This, now you start adding fakes, now you start adding distance, now you start adding, more force and stuff, then this still comes into play. So it makes sense to me. All right. So I really, really like what they're doing here. To me, it's quality. I'm super impressed by it. Um, I don't know how much more I could praise, but the difference between what they're doing here and normal tapi tapi is the half body pendulum work that they're putting in, and the stance. A lot of times when you do tapi tapi, I see some people, the stance for a beginner is understandable. They just stand square. These guys are in a fighting stance, okay? Especially if you look at the old man, he is in a fighting stance. And I'm sorry, I don't know how old he is, so let me say older gentleman, okay? Maybe he's not that old, I don't know. But the older gentleman, the one wearing the green, okay, and the guy in the black, I don't know if it's his relative or it's his grandson, or maybe, like I said, maybe this guy's not that old, and maybe this kid is not that young. I don't know. But so anyway, them, they're moving around, and the stance that they're in is a little bit more realistic rather than just facing square. Okay, so I do like that very much, and that half body pendulum to me is the core, and that's really helping out with their skill there. So they're dodging the slash. They're also using stabs, the thrust attacks. So they're dodging that. They're defending against that, and then they're coming back with a counter. Okay. And then they're immediately trying to get back out. So, because you do need to do that. You can't just counter and then it ends. You counter, but then you got to be worried about a return attack. So in that sense, this drill to me makes a ton of sense. It is a lot more realistic in their execution to me. The one in the right is, these guys have tremendous physical attributes, the military guys. So they're going as fast as they can. They memorize the pattern and they're going as fast as they can. Good for them, good for them. That's amazing. And so a blender against what the people on the left are doing, the Filipinos on the left, what they're doing, okay, what would happen? So if they're in a confined space, and a guy who's just physically superior, like the military dudes in the right, and they just bust out a blender on you in a confined space, I'm sorry, folks, there's nothing you can do. The blender is going to probably take you out, period. I don't care who you are. I don't care how skilled you are. So in that sense, what the military people are doing here, the training, is it incorrect? I don't think so. I think it's good for them to do blender training. Now, if in the street and you have more room and this crazy guy is just stabbing people left and right, okay, and then he comes after you, what you see in the left right here, that's the way to deal with it. Don't deal with it like what you're seeing the military guys do, because then you're both gonna die. You're both gonna get cut up. The military, what they're doing here is you take out that knife and you got to go high speed, full speed, balls to the wall, and you go in, you don't think twice, and you take them out. So it's going to require that blind courage and just go for it, which is, it makes sense for military people, because one hesitation, one mistake, and you're dead. So that makes sense for them to do that. Over here on the street where you don't know what the heck's going on, is this person crazy? Is this a mistaken identity situation? What is happening, right? I like what the Filipinos are doing over here on the left side, and I believe these are the skills that will help you survive that, okay? That will help you not necessarily defeat the other person, and the counter's not even that important. What's really important is just being able to, if it gets this close, that you're able to, defend against it and get the heck out. So, I hope you guys can see this. Really just wanted to make this clear. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.